Hey everybody, this is Cedric from Bandite, and welcome to the second part where we will be continuing making this fantasy scene. So today we'll be making a layout. Layouting the scene is basically making a placeholder for all the assets you're gonna need, so you know what to model, what to make, and to get a better look already at the scene, make some basic sculpts. This is one way of working. This is not the way of working, by the way. I'll be shutting up from time to time, by the way, so you can just enjoy the video. And when something interesting pops up, I'll tell you something about it. So here you can already see me doing a very simple hair particle system for the trees. Those trees are very basic, but just to get some kind of idea of the background, how it's gonna look. And yeah, sometimes you can see me standing still because I'm looking up reference for other stuff. The reference in the bottom right corner, that's my mood board, I guess. But on my other screens I have tons of other reference open because I can't stress enough reference it. If you're just making something, look up reference. For instance, I'm just making some simple grass here, nothing too complicated. I'm probably gonna remake it because I'm not that happy with how it looks. I'll probably also have to make it denser, but I'm gonna bring in some more different kind of vegetations in the final render. But this will do for a placeholder. Also, yeah, you're probably wondering, why not directly make the final output? Like, won't that save time? And like, maybe in some cases it might, but this is gonna bring me some better view on like, what do I need and what don't I need, and how detailed has to be what I need. Like for a single render, you can go save a lot of time by seeing like, yeah, I need this rock, but I don't need it as detailed because we only see that much of it. For instance, here I just make a simple density so that the grass isn't around the fireplace. And yeah, so I know how detailed I have to go with the grass and what grass is gonna be and how heavy my scene is gonna be with the grass. So yeah. So next part is the troll again. This is the first time I'm gonna do this in a different approach where I'll sculpt... Hello, Mr. Motorcyclist. But where I'll sculpt different parts of the body, just to have, like, not have iffy creases I have to do in sculpting, and I just can sculpt them somewhat inside of each other. That makes sense. And like, I had two options: do it this way, or like sculpt an A pose, rig it, pose it, and then sculpt above the pose to yeah, have the creases correctly and everything. And that seemed like just so much work for a simple render. Maybe we could reuse it, sure, but yeah. So I put another view here of the camera because the silhouette is very important to me. So I'm sculpting also with that in mind. And I started sculpting like the head and the body is one part. Just sculpting what the head should look like. Important factor here, I'm not going hard into detail, just having some idea of how it's gonna look, where details are gonna be. Like, this is also handy for like to check what parts do I want to add. Do I want to add piercings? Do I want to add some details? What hair do I want to add? And so on and so on. So nothing too fancy. I was kind of worried here that he was looking too much like Shrek. So I kind of changed some features here and there to avoid that. Yeah, so singling this out so I can like sculpt around it. Bring in some body parts like boobies. Troll boobies, I'm gonna love them. Putting some other reference here of like how the shoulders like go in there. So yeah, now you can see like I sculpted the arm separately, smoothing it out across the edges so like the seam isn't too obvious. Putting in those muscle groups. Every time you see the image like standing still now. I'm looking at my own arm and wondering, where it goes, what, where. The left arm was pretty easy. I added the fingers separately for the same reason again, because I don't want to have like iffy sculpting going on. Like yeah, if you sculpt a hand and the arm in one go, like in one mesh, it's gonna look very weird at some. Like you have to put so much effort in not to destroy any part or singling out parts or masking. Just making it a separate object is so much easier. So I put in the fingers, posed them already a bit, that they looked kind of nice. Smoothed them already, so yeah, the image gives a little bit better, yeah. So after like I sculpted the hand a bit, I did notice later on that the hand was too small. It was kind of like a gentle, small troll hand. Like Trump hands, yeah, just a little troll Trump. Let's not get too political on this show. So I checked like the block out version where the arm should be. Like this is where the, oh yeah, and then my Blender crashed, for Christ's sake. So that happened once or twice. This is like the 2.79 build, so it's not the most stable build, so I can't really complain. If I wanted a stable build, I should have like worked in a 2.78, but I'm already using the principled shader, so hey. So this is where the blockout gets in handy, that I copied the left arm to the right arm, and then like grabbed the parts and snake hooked the parts so it fitted the blockout. And that will already bring in some better posing in there, instead of me like trying to figure out in like sculpting where should everything be. So here it's a bit more trouble, so he has to a little bit reach with the arm into the fire. And I was kind of struggling with how the hand was proportioned with the forearm. So yeah, here you can see me the hand make bigger. I was like, yeah, no, he has to have huge hands. He's a troll, a big mighty troll. And so yeah, I kind of struggled with the right arm with the pose, so I put in the fingers. Because it was a fist, I first wanted to make it one sculpt. But again, yeah, I put in the fingers separately, and so I can check, yeah, where does the stick go? How is he holding it? Does this make sense? Like also the muscles and the bones of like the forearm, they do twisty things when you bend them in a certain way. So trying to put that in, put in some more definition of the muscles. And there I was pretty happy with the arms. You can already see like just laying the whole thing out and sculpting some basics can already bring so much in your image. So yeah. At this point, I'm again looking up reference of lag. Like this was, I wouldn't say hardest part, but like, yeah, it's never really obvious to me where everything should be. I'm not an anatomy master, so I'm looking up reference, but looking reference up from this pose and what should happen with the legs is kind of like, yeah, hard. I didn't find a lot of reference, so I went just like kind of, let's see what happens here. But you can already see it's kind of unrealistically flapping, so I'll be fixing that later. Also notice that there are no feet. I forgot the feet in the blockout, so I will also be adding them later. You can see here, like me singling out, this was maybe not the smartest idea because I was then kind of happy with the lag, but wasn't really paying attention to how it looked in the final image. Finally, adding some feet. Oh, Christ. Yeah. This is pretty self-explanatory, I think. Like, I have trouble with feet. I hate feet. Like, I probably postpone feet more than anything else. And the further parts, when we really start sculpting, you'll probably see that I'll do the feet last, or maybe I'll do them first to get the hardest thing out of the way. Like, that's the more healthier approach. Like, do the hardest thing first, and do the rest later. I think the biggest mistake I made here is that there's like a 90-degree angle between the foot and the ankle, which shouldn't be the case. Like, there's this weird muscle like making a nice curve, and Now they just look like clown feet. Like, yeah. Here you can see me like adding that curve, being like, oh yeah, herp-de-derp, that has to go there. Copying the foot, copying the leg. Again, using the layout as reference to where to put the leg. Re-putting the thingy to hide this troll jewelry there. And yeah, just putting it back into the scene. Put it in a different layer, just for ease of use. And yeah, you can see already that like when I render this later on, we can already see a better picture of, okay, what do we need? What is cool about this? Where can I tell more story? Where have I too much story or too much going on? Putting here a simple stone, I'll probably just redo that stone. Like, not very happy with this, but just like, it's a placeholder. Spending not too much time on that. What you can see if you're tracking the time on my on the right bottom corner. Yeah, this is spanned out of a couple of days. I've been busy again with different projects, and yeah, finding time for this project is kind of hardish. And I actually want to make this a weekly thing, but yeah, it's not going to happen. So here I'll finish up my first render. This is just to check, like, does the lighting still work for like the silhouette? Do I like the new silhouette? This is kind of like, because we're gonna detail like everything, we're gonna sculpt everything really nice and texture it, but the silhouette already has to be kind of there. And here I try my first like piece of clothing to put on there. I kind of skipped it. I didn't want him to, like, one of my references have these nice ankle shackles, but they didn't kind of fit this one. So give him a necklace here. Thought maybe he's bringing some. Just for the sake of having something hanging there, I put in some keys, but not really happy with that choice. Still have to think about like what would he bring on a journey. Like, yeah, maybe he has some keys, maybe he has some home somewhere he has to return to. I did want to bring in a shoulder plate, but that's like cliche and nice. And put in some arrows in there. Like, that's like the main part. I really want to stick that out, that like, yeah, he has seen some battle, he has returned from battle. And there's some nice detail. Also, like, for reference of scale, you can see how big the arrows are, and then you can kind of tell like, oh, this is a pretty big fella. So here I put in the keys. This was maybe a bit too straightforward idea. I'm thinking about deleting them and adding something else. Like, this is why layouting and designing in 3D is fun this way, because yeah, you can make choices on the go before you start detailing everything and having to redo a lot of stuff, or sticking with the stuff you have because you don't have enough time. So here I copied the head body part mesh. I just duplicated it and started sculpting on that one to have hair. It's a pretty cool way to bring in hair. I learned recently. So I kind of want to give him like a bit of back, like making him a bit older. Have him like long whiskers and have some heavy eyebrows. I also brought in a beard. In retrospect, maybe not too happy with the beard, but I'm gonna check how that looks when I sculpt. Put up some bit more definition in his chin and his mouth. Retrospect, I might have like put in too much time in the hair already, but we'll see. Kind of looks like a tigerish now. That's why I added some teeth, a simple skin modifier. Looks like he has a cigar now, so I might put some reference of some tigers, just to have like some, to know what to do with the mouth. Maybe I'll make him like half troll, half tiger. Would be kind of cool. His design is not fixed yet. It's kind of getting there. We're gonna see before the next step, like in this layout, when this layout is finished, I'm gonna look up more reference, gonna put in a real effort striking down a design, and then we'll finish this piece, like piece by piece. So So, yeah, you're probably asking, yeah, but why all the time you spent... Yeah, I was fiddling with the area. I didn't know what was happening, but holy crap, I had to reset all positions and rotations before I got it to work. But anyway, like, yeah, why spend so much time then on this? Like, you could already work on a finished piece, but like, if you really want to make something creative, like other people would probably draw something, like for example Zacharias Reinhardt from the Zacharias Reinhardt channel. He draws awesomely. He has some drawing skill, and he draws his design first and has a pretty good idea how it does look in 3D. I like to work this way to also have some like kind of freedom. First, I sculpted a sword here, a big sword he carries with him, and here I, for the first time, adjusted the camera because I wanted like this sword to have kind of in the image, as part of the image, in the story, to again tell the story like he's a warrior, he has seen some battle, the sword will be kind of worn out, and this is like why I like layouting, because yeah, that idea of adding the sword came here. And this for other people would go into drawing, into design, but I suck at drawing, so I do it this way. So yeah, at this part I'm adding some colors in the viewport, also matching the colors in the simple principled shaders, doing nothing too shabby, just to already get some idea of how everything looks in layout. Like, because if you render this and you're like, this is starting to look nice, then you know you're on the right path. And there are even people who submit like these kind of renders as final products, and they think they're not like good because these are their renders. But take it from me and see this as a sign in the next part that like this might look as an amateuristic render, but this is just like not finished. And we're going somewhere. In the next parts, it will be like, it will become more and more awesome. I'm already happy with where we're going with this, and yeah, this was layout. The next part will be like bringing in a mood board and design board, and I'll be not spending too much time on that, but then we'll start sculpting, modeling, like we'll model the assets, we'll model the sword and the fire, we'll put in effects, sculpting, texturing, hair, backgrounds, backdrops, and in the end compositing, like rendering and compositing, and then we'll have an awesome render. And yeah, I'm also recording this so I keep myself working and not be distracted too much by Overwatch or other games. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this part, and I'll see you in the next. Yay!